All right, guys, so if some of you are having a lot of trouble factoring, I'm going to do one of each type of factoring except for GCF. But remember, the first thing you always check when you're factoring is GCF. We're going to start with the problem, x squared minus 2x minus 24. This is the swing method where we use sum and product. So I'm going to put the sum over here, the product over there. Remember, sum is always the b value, the number in front of x. The product is always a times c, the number in front of x squared, and this last number here. Now, the number in front of x squared in this one is 1, so we won't have to worry about that. So in this one, the sum is negative 2. The product is negative 24. Now, for the product to be negative, that means one of them has to be negative when you bring out the factors. So let's check 24 out. Obviously, 1 and 24 would be our first thought, but making either of them negative will never give me negative 2. I can go to 2 and 12, but again, those have such a big gap. Negative 2 plus 12 or 2 plus negative 12 would be 10 or negative 10. Then we can go to 3 and 8. Same thing, you might try it out. Negative 3 plus 8 would be 5. Negative 8 plus 3 would be negative 5, so that's not going to work either. Then I get to 4 and 6. Well, negative 4 plus 6 is 2. So if we move the negative to the 6, 4 plus negative 6 is negative 2. So there's the numbers. So I put those in my parentheses. X plus 4, x minus 6. Since a is 1, that's all you have to do. So really, that shouldn't be too bad. It's this part that gets most of you. You need to try out as many numbers that can multiply together to give your product as possible. If you skip or go out of order, you might miss the one that you need. Now let's do another one. I'm going to write 2x squared plus 7x minus 4. This is the same method. There's no GCF. It's still a trinomial, but now a is bigger than 1. So let's see. The sum is 7. The product is negative 8. So there's not a lot of things that multiply together to get 8. 1 and 8. One of those has to be negative. So let's see. If I do negative 1 plus 8, I get 7. Negative 1 times 8 is negative 8. So x minus 1, x plus 8. Now, since a is 2, we're going to take that 2 and we're going to divide those two numbers by it and simplify. 1/2 is already simplified. Since it still has a denominator, I swing it to the front. I get 2x minus 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so x plus 4. So guys, if you're having trouble with that, you might kind of watch these two as you're working a problem and try to do the same things. The only things that are changed are those right there. Let's look at another type. This is one we've seen, x to the 4th minus 64. This is two terms. There's no GCF. So you have to decide, is it squares or cubes? Well, if it's an even number, you want to think about squares. So I'm going to come down here and just write a equals and b equals, because remember, the formula says a minus b, a plus b. All we've got to do is take the square roots of those, and we can keep going. Well, the square root of x to the 4th is x squared. The square root of 64 is 8. Now I just need to plug them in. X squared minus 8, x squared plus 8. Now, of course, we need to check, can I do anything else? If I look right here, it kind of looks like it might be difference of squares again, but since that 8 doesn't have a square root that's a whole number, we're finished. So you could see that come up. We've seen a lot. X squared minus 9, x minus 3x plus 3. We could even have numbers on both of them, like 16x squared minus 64. Well, the square root of 16 is 4. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of 64 is 8. And then we just repeat it with the positives. So look out for those. Those are pretty easy if you notice what they are. One of our newer ones, I have 8x cubed plus 27. Now, this could be plus or minus, but obviously it's not difference of squares because we have a cubed, so you might want to think about our sum or difference of cubes. This is sum of cubes, so my a and b this time are the cube roots. The cube root of 8 is 2. The cube root of x cubed is x. The cube root of 27 is 3. So now we can fill them into our equation, and you'll have these no matter what. If I'm talking about sum of cubes, my answer is going to be a plus b in my first set of parentheses, then a squared minus ab plus b squared. So let's just fill that in. A plus b, 2x plus 3. A squared, now be careful. A is 2x, and if I square 2x, I have to square both of these. So 4x squared minus, multiply A and B together, 2x times 3 is 6x. And then I do plus B squared, which is 3 squared, so I get 9. That works the same way if it's negative or the difference of cubes. The formulas just have subtractions in different spots. So look at those formulas, find your A and B, and then just fill it out. The last thing and the newest thing we did would be like this. X to the third minus 2x squared minus 3x minus 6. This has 4 terms, and the only way we know how to do that is by grouping. So this is where your GCF comes in. I'm going to look at the first 2 terms. I can't take out a number, but they both have at least 2 x's, so I'm going to take out an x squared. Don't leave this off. Now I divide by x squared. X cubed divided by x squared is x. Negative 2x divided by 2x squared divided by 2x is minus 2. Now let's look at the other one. They have negative 3 and negative 6. I can take a negative 3 out of both. They both don't have x's, so I can't take out an x. Negative 3x divided by negative 3 is x. Negative 6 divided by negative 3 is positive 2. Dang it, did I write that out wrong? Sorry for the pause there, guys. I miswrote this when I did it. It's plus 6 here, so that would make this minus 2 there. Sorry. The same principles apply. Remember, our goal is to have this and this be the same. So I take these 2 pieces, give them their own set of parentheses, x squared minus 3, and then the other 2 join into one thing, x minus 2. Now remember to check these 2. I have x squared, I have minus, but since 3, you can't take the square root, I am finished. So guys, use this, come in and get help. If you cannot factor, the whole rest of the chapter is going to be rough. So do your best to get the help that you need. Good luck.